सोशल रिव्यू के एक और एपिसोड के साथ मैं हूं आपकी मेज़बान समीन नवाज़। अपने आज के इस प्रोग्राम में हम कुछ बात करेंगे इमिग्रेशन के नए क़वानीन के हवाले से। ट्रंप इंतज़ामिया के बाद अब जो बाइडन इंतज़ामिया के कंट्रोल संभाल लेने के बाद क्या कुछ क़वानीन में तब्दीलियाँ रोनुमा होती हुई नज़र आ रही हैं, क्योंकि माजी में हमने देखा कि इमिग्रेंट्स के लिए खासी सख्तियाँ की गई। ट्रंप इंतज़ामिया की जानिब से कुछ क़वानीन तब्दील किए गए उनके दौरे हुकूमत में, और बहुत कुछ ऐसी तब्दीलियाँ की गई जिसकी वजह से अमरीका से जाने वालों के लिए वहाँ वापसी आना खासा मुश्किल हो गया। बिलखुसूस अगर हम बात करें हस्पानियों की, तो हस्पानिया के वो लोग तमाम तर जो कि वहाँ पर इमिग्रेशन लॉस के हवाले से खासी सख्तियाँ बर्दाश्त कर रहे थे, अब शायद जो बाइडन इंतज़ामिया की जिम्मेदारियाँ संभाल लेने के बाद वो ये उम्मीद लगा बैठे हैं कि उनके लिए कुछ सहूलियात हो सकेंगी और जो क़वानीन मौजूद हैं उसमें तब्दीली के बाद उनके लिए इमिग्रेंट क़वानीन तब्दील होने के बाद जो है वो आसानियाँ हो सकेंगी। एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की जिम्मेदारियाँ संभाल लेने के बाद क्या कुछ तब्दीलियाँ मुमकिन हैं और क्या कुछ तब्दीलियाँ हो सकती हैं, क्या कुछ उम्मीदें लगाए बैठे हैं वो तमाम तर लोग जो इमिग्रेंट्स क़वानीन से परेशान थे। इस प्रोग्राम में हम इन तमाम तर चीज़ों पर बात करेंगे। साथ साथ उन बच्चों के हवाले से भी हम बात करेंगे जो अपने वालिदैन के हमरा बहुत कम उम्री में अमरीका आए, लेकिन ताहाल यानी अब वो 20 से 25 साल की उम्र को पहुंच चुके हैं, लेकिन अभी तक वो इल्लीगल ही हैं और उनकी जो लीगल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है वो कंप्लीट नहीं हो सकी है। तो क्या कुछ ये तब्दीलियाँ हम देखेंगे आने वाले दिनों में, क्योंकि जो बाइडन इंतज़ामिया खासी लोगों को जो है वो ये उम्मीद दिला रही है कि बहुत कुछ तब्दील होने जा रहा है, और ट्रंप इंतज़ामिया या ट्रंप के दौरे हुकूमत में जो क़वानीन सख्त किए गए थे या जो भी ऐसी मुश्किलात दरपेश थी लोगों को, उनको यकीनन दूर करने की कोशिशें की जाएंगी। इसी हवाले से बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ आज के इस प्रोग्राम में मौजूद हैं जोनाथन अफ्तालियन, जो कि इमिग्रेशन अटर्नी हैं, और इनसे हम कुछ सवालात हैं जिनके जवाब जानेंगे और कोशिश करेंगे ये जानने की कि इमिग्रेंट्स के लिए क्या कुछ तब्दील होने जा रहा है और उनकी मुश्किलात कब तक ख़त्म हो सकती हैं। एक ब्रेक लेंगे और ब्रेक के बाद वापस आएंगे तो अपने मेहमान से गुफ्तगू का बाकायदा आगाज़ करेंगे। हमारे साथ रहिए। Welcome back. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan Aftalion, to giving us the time to educate the community.
Thank you so much for having me, Samin. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Jonathan, what immigration policies changes can we expect with Biden?
So, Biden has come in and he has promised a more liberal agenda than Trump, which has been good. We can expect him to propose litigation to propose legislation to Congress to reform our immigration laws. Immigration works in waves. So at some points it's more constricting to allow immigrants to come in, and then at other points it allows more people to come in. So under Trump, we've been very restricted. Trump had an American first policy and wanted to concentrate more on the Americans here as opposed to bringing in family members from overseas. Biden proposes more policies in terms of bringing in more family members, opening up asylum proceedings, and keeping family members more so here in the United States. We need whole-scale reforms in terms of our Immigration Nationality Act, which is the immigration laws of the United States. They're very outdated. So Biden is promising to propose legislation to completely change and revamp our immigration laws to better the immigrant community.
Jonathan, so the Democrats are in the government now. Can immigrants bring their families from overseas to US?
So this is a great question, because there was executive orders that Trump did put into place which stopped family members from coming in. There was the Muslim ban, which stopped the family members from coming in from Yemen or Somalia, such as those countries. And then there was also another executive order that Trump put into place last year, which has been extended several times, which barred entry of family members, for most family members, due to COVID. And he did an America First policy again, and he wanted to limit the amount of people that were coming in. So Biden, in his first day, he took out the Muslim ban, which was great. So now if you're within those countries, you would have been able to bring in your family members. But what he recently did last week, Biden, is he rescinded an order, or he made another order which rescinded Trump's order that stopped people from bringing in their family members due to COVID-related issues. So now Biden has opened it up where if you have family overseas, they're going to begin processing through the consulates and the embassies abroad to bring in the family members. This was a very big issue for the past year because there were diversity visa holders who couldn't come into the United States. There were a lot of family members who were separated from their wives, from their children, from their parents, from their siblings, who could not come in because of this COVID-related ban that Trump placed. So starting from last week, things have been opened up. If you have any family members who are overseas right now, we could definitely work to help get everyone here.
In the Republican administration, we heard a lot of news. The ICE raided, they arrested a lot of illegal immigrants in different states. Now, government has been changes. So what do you think the new administration does the same or they change the policies?
So this is a very good question because a lot of people were scared for a very long time during Trump. And now Biden, he claims to make ICE more relaxed, where they're not doing as many raids. We don't know what that means yet. It's still too soon to tell, but we definitely know, just speaking to ICE officers personally, speaking to Department of Homeland Security prosecutors personally, they are becoming a lot more relaxed in terms of detaining people, in terms of making these raids. They're beginning to do what they did in Obama administration, which is concentrate on certain crimes, concentrate on certain preferences, where if there's a criminal history, if there's a serious criminal history, those individuals, ICE will still be after, but it's going to work in more of a tier type process where they have their priorities. And the individuals who have been out of the court for a very long time, don't have any criminal records, those people should be fined from ICE. Now, there's no real way of knowing. Technically, ICE can still come, but this is what Biden is proposing, that he wants ICE to concentrate more on the serious criminal offenders as opposed to a 75-year-old grandmother.
ओके, एक ब्रेक लेंगे. यहाँ ब्रेक के बाद वापस आएंगे तो हमारे साथ जो अफ्तालियन मौजूद हैं, उनसे कुछ मज़ीद गुफ्तगू करेंगे, लेकिन एक ब्रेक के बाद. वेलकम बैक नाज़रीन. प्रोग्राम सोशल रिव्यू में एक बार फिर आपको खुशामदीद कहेंगे. जोनाथन अफ्तालियन, इमिग्रेशन अटर्नी, हमारे साथ आज के इस प्रोग्राम में मौजूद हैं और इमिग्रेशन के हवाले से जो क़वानीन में तब्दीली हुई है और जो कुछ तब्दील होने जा रहा है और क्या कुछ मज़ीद तब्दील हो सकता है, इन्हीं तमाम तर चीज़ों पर बात कर रहे हैं और कुछ सवालात के जवाबात जान रहे हैं. जोनाथन अफ्तालियन हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, इमिग्रेशन अटर्नी हैं. उनसे गुफ्तगू का एक बार फिर सिलसिला शुरू करेंगे. जोनाथन, व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन विद द DACA एंड प्लीज़ ऑल्सो एक्सप्लेन अबाउट DACA टू आवर व्यूअर्स.
Yes, so DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's a Dreamers Act, they also call it. It's basically for undocumented children who have come to the United States alongside their parents or any other family members. These children did not have the ability to choose to come. They came in with older adults who made the decision for them to arrive here. And for a long time, this is something that the Obama administration begun, and Trump administration really tried putting an end to it and did not allow new applications, but we were able to renew it. But Trump tried putting an entire end to this whole process. And what it allows individuals to do is, if you came here as a minor, and you were undocumented, but you came here and you didn't know what you were doing because you were too young to make that decision on your own, it allows you to stay here. It allows you to stay outside of immigration proceedings, deportation proceedings, and it gives individuals a work permit. So these people who are a little bit older now, they're able to get DACA, as long as they apply for it when they're still minors, and they'll be able to remain in the United States and work and be able to pay taxes and be able to create better of the community that they live in. So Trump wanted to put an end to it. Biden, on his first day, brought DACA back, which allows minors to apply to remain in the United States, stay out of deportation proceedings, and get work permits so they could work.
Jonathan, if someone came in this country when he or she was very young and they count as a minor, they is still undocumented, is there any way to get his or her legal documentation?
Yes, there is. So if you're here, if you're a minor in the United States and you're undocumented, it could be that you came in either over the border, or it can mean that you came in with a visitor visa and overstayed your visitor visa. However, you ended up here. If you have children who are under the age of 21, there is a path to a green card for them. There are certain requirements that they have to fit within. So we'd be happy to hear those situations and see if we could help. But what we would have to show is that reunification is not possible with at least one of the parents. So if one of the parents is still overseas and one of the parents are here, or even sometimes if both of the parents are overseas, if one of the parents have passed away, it depends on the different situations. But as long as we can show reunification is not possible with one of the parents, and either that one parent abused this child, neglected this child, abandoned this child, then there is a path to a green card and a path to citizenship for these undocumented minors.
Jonathan, I know so many people personally in South Asian community. They came to United States like 3 years ago or 2 years ago in Trump administration. But now they came as a legal immigrants in US, and after they filed the green card application, but the application is still in the process from last 2 to 3 years. What should be happen with those pending applications in Biden administration?
So this is a great question because there are a lot of people in this similar situation. Now, if they applied for green cards here in the United States, a lot of the times these are being delayed, especially in communities such as Pakistan, such as Bangladesh. Like the U.S. government can be discriminatory against certain, depending on certain regions that you come from. So what we would do is we would file a federal lawsuit, because the U.S. government has to comply with the APA, which is the Administrative Procedure Act, and they cannot unlawfully delay these cases for arbitrary reasons. So we would sue the government and we would say, listen, on this day they had the interview, on this day they filed the application, it's been taking this long, these delays are unlawful. And usually very soon after we file these federal lawsuits, the government adjudicates the case, and then we're able to move forward on them. So to answer your question, I don't think the Biden administration is going to be that different than the Trump administration in terms of adjudicating these cases, especially given the fact that there was COVID. There have been a lot of delays in administering these cases. So the best path forward would be these federal lawsuits that we would file for unlawful delays, and then we'll be able to get results very quickly after we file those.
Jonathan, if someone married with the US citizen and the US citizen never filed the legal documentation for his or her spouse, and spouse abused by the US citizen, is there any way to spouse able to file the immigration application?
So yeah, so this happens a lot more than people think. There is a way for those individuals to obtain green cards and have path to citizenship. Okay, this is called the Violence Against Women Act. It's VAWA. This Violence Against Women Act is passed through Congress, applies to both men and women, even though there's only women in the name. And it's specifically tailored to immigrants who either meet their spouse here or come in through a petition from the spouse. They're married to a legal resident or a U.S. citizen, and they're abused by that legal resident or U.S. citizen. It could be a male abusing a female. It could be a female abusing the male. This VAWA protects the immigrants so that they do not have to remain married and they do not have to remain in relationships where they are being abused, whether it's emotional, whether it's verbal, whether it's physical. In this case, it was physical. And there are ways where with using this VAWA, using this Violence Against Women Act, the immigrants could file their own petitions and have their own path to a green card, taking out that spouse. So they could leave the home, they could live in a safe environment, and they will still have a path to U.S. citizenship.
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। जोनाथन अफ्तालियन हमारे साथ मौजूद थे और हमने कुछ बात की इमिग्रेशन कवानीन के हवाले से। ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन या ट्रंप के दौरे हुकूमत के दौरान जो कुछ वहाँ इमिग्रेंट्स के साथ कवानीन में तब्दीलियों के सबब मुश्किलात दरपेश रही हैं, अब यकीनन उनका जल्द ख़ात्मा मुमकिन हो सकेगा, क्योंकि जिस तरह से जोनाथन का कहना था कि बहुत कुछ ऐसा है जो तब्दील होने जा रहा है और जो कुछ सख्तियाँ इमिग्रेंट्स के हवाले से कवानीन में कर दी गई थी, अब उनमें तरामीम के बाद उसको यकीनन लोगों के लिए आसान बनाया जा सकेगा। आज के इस प्रोग्राम के लिए फ़िलहाल इतना ही। अगले हफ्ते एक और प्रोग्राम के साथ आपके सामने हाजिर होंगे। प्रोग्राम टीम के साथ समीन नवाज को इजाज़त दीजिए। अल्लाह ने के बाद।